Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions from the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, news, lifestyle, music, everything really, depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. You will recognize my guests from a lot of cool TV shows and movies, specifically Famous in Love, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, and Niki Koss is with us. Niki, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad we're able to do this. And I mentioned off the top, you act, but you don't just act, you direct, you write, you wear many hats. How important is it for Niki Koss to wear many hats in the entertainment industry?
It's so important. I mean, I would go insane if I didn't do it all. I'm just kind of a control freak like that. But I do love every facet of the industry. I love directing, producing, writing, acting. I love it all. So picking one lane, I don't think I could do it. I think it'd be impossible.
But I feel like you kind of have to try to do as much as you can. I don't feel I feel like, do you find that that's kind of because you have a lot of friends in the industry as well? Do you find everyone's kind of in the same boat? Everyone's trying to do many lanes?
Yeah, I think the industry has just changed so much over the years. And now it's at the point where you kind of can't just sit around and wait to be picked. You have to sort of take control of your destiny, if you will, and find a way to make your mark and do it on your own while still utilizing a route of, whatever the normal path is, like going on auditions and whatnot.
There's so much amazing content out there right now. And I think the pandemic there was a lot of shows that kind of exploded over the pandemic. You were on a show, you were on Famous in Love with Bella Thorne, and that show was very popular. And you were part of kind of a show that had a big fan base. I mean, you kind of see it on social media. What have you kind of noticed since that show and looking now with all these other shows? What have you kind of noticed about that bubble? Because I feel like there's been 3-4 years of craziness in terms of popularity of certain TV shows.
Yeah, timing is interesting. I often wonder if that show came out at a different period, if it would have done better or worse. But I mean, we are so inundated with content right now, and it's so hard to tell because of that. But I think that ultimately, obviously, everything happens for a reason, and it was great at the time that we had it, and it was just such a wonderful experience. But right now, I'm definitely having a very hard time selecting shows on Netflix. There's so much.
Too many. There's way too many. You tackled that festival question really well. So I'm gonna ask you another question, a general kind of industry question. I want your opinion of it. I'm noticing a trend. I'm noticing something right now. I'm noticing that there are people that are known for a certain genre. So my specific example is there are people that are known in comedy, like Jordan Peele, Seth Rogen, right? Who people know them for their comedy, that are testing the waters and experimenting in other genres that they're not maybe known for, like horror and superhero culture. Jordan Peele with Get Out and Us, and Seth Rogen was an executive producer on The Boys on Amazon. So those are really popular genres right now. What do you think about that? The comedy, people known for a certain thing kind of going in and experimenting with someone. And then, because I was taken aback when I found out that Jordan Peele was doing all these amazing movies. I saw the trailer for Get Out. And I was like, Jordan Peele from Mad TV? What? You know what I mean? It's interesting.
Yeah, I think that now is the time where we're able to allow that, and I don't think that was always the case. I think, at least personally, I've been told throughout my career by many different people, directing, acting, even producing, that you need to pick a lane, you need to pick a genre and just sort of stick to it. And then once you make it, so to speak, in that genre, then you can venture out. But I think that we're in a point now where, like we were talking about earlier, you can make content yourself and have more control over your own career and your own choices and projects. So I think now's the time where we're sort of opening up to that being possible and that being a lot more common. And I think it's great because I've noticed that comedians are always usually excellent at drama, and I think that it gives a lot of actors an opportunity that they wouldn't have had maybe even 5, 10 years ago.
No, it's crazy. Yeah, the opportunity is there as well. Do you think too, though, that specifically talking about your career as like an actor, do you think there's been still a misconception in terms of the fact that people don't realize like how much auditions actors actually do? Like
Yeah,
that's the job, right? Like you
yeah,
could be auditioning for
that's
like
the
2 years and then you get a job and you're on a movie set for like 3 months and that's it. And then you're back to auditioning. Like your job,
yeah.
you're like professional auditioners.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a great way to describe it. I mean, the audition process is, to be frank, not my favorite. It's tough, and it's, you have to sort of develop uh, this a coping mechanism to be okay with this sort of cycle of like rejection, essentially. And it's hard because you develop a attachment to the character and the project, and it's hard to let it go, because once you're done with the audition you just have to forget it ever happened, and if you ever get that call, it's like, okay, great, but unless that happens you kind of just have to remove yourself. So yeah, it's hard, and auditioning is a massive part of the job.
It is a massive part of the job. And I think it's one of those things where I hear here and there, we're getting into kind of specifics, but it's just like there are people that, are on some of your favorite television shows and movies, right?
Hmm.
That don't get certain roles that you don't even
Yeah,
hear about. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, it's weird. And then you get attached to those actors and those characters, and you want to see more of them. But I mean, it goes back to just being inundated with content and actors as well. There's so many
It's
actors
just
out
crazy.
there.
Like I'm not gonna go into specifics. I'll just say like I like one of my friends is an actor in Toronto. I met up with him for lunch like a couple years ago. We're talking, and he's just like, yeah, it was between me and this other guy for a role, and it was like one of the biggest roles of all time. Like it's a massive role, right? So
Uh,
like, and he just said it like
in there.
very, and we're just in a coffee shop. He's like, yeah, it was between me and him, and I didn't get
Yeah.
it. And I was just like,
Well, yeah. Just major, major heartbreak just casually thrown off.
Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse is it has its horror moments. It's not necessarily like a horror movie per se
Right.
because there's some comedy in it. But have you noticed how amazing the horror movie genre has become though? It's insane. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely, I mean, I'm personally not a big horror person. And that Scout's Guide is like the wackiest horror ever. I mean, I got those sides and I was like, what is this movie? But like in the it's such a wacky movie. I love it. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it. But yeah, it's expanded a lot, and it's kind of going back to like what we keep saying, because there's so much content. You
Mhm.
have such an opportunity now to be unique and change it up, and have your voice in a different way. And you know there's just so much. You got to find a way to stand out now. So I think that's definitely been happening in the horror world too.
I just love how there's just more like there's different ways. Like I'm a big fan. Like I'm also noticing too, like you worked in short like on short films too. It's like I'm noticing that those are becoming more popular, and I think it has to do with like the fact that there's more access to them and there's more kind of ways to access them. Do you think that's safe to say? That's why short movies are becoming more popular. It's the access.
Yeah, making a short is definitely more feasible than any other type of project, I'd say, although it is no easy feat. But yeah, I personally love short films because I love acting and I love directing, and I feel very strongly that you need to constantly be tuning the instrument and, practicing your craft. And had nothing but good experiences doing shorts, and I want to keep doing them for the rest of my career, like no matter where my career lands.
Absolutely. I feel like there's a lot of like anthology series like on Netflix and stuff and like Amazon, but I feel like someone needs to like, and I don't know, like I'm always thinking of big
Oh,
ideas. So maybe
are we about to create a project right
I
now?
guess I don't know, but like there's so many amazing kind of short films out there, and I'm
Yeah.
sure people can kind of take 5 or 6 of them that kind
Yeah.
of work and make it like
That is a very, I think we might be onto something. I think we need to chat after this.
Absolutely, because I feel like there's so many good things, but it's just like another thing too, and I think that's the one thing with Famous in Love is I find the way that show kind of looks like it's very colorful at
Yeah.
times, and the way shows like shows are basically being shot like it's like a movie, like a blockbuster movie,
Oh, yeah.
like the production value is
Production.
insane.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
So what was it like, kind of like what was your, because you mentioned like you showed up the scouts guide. I don't know why, there's just some stuff I remember the hype around that movie though. Like I live in Canada, right? For some reason there was like hype around that they had a trailer with the cat.
Really?
The cat, the zombie cat
The
was like a
cat,
trailer
yeah.
that kept like at late
Oh my
night.
God, really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
And Logan was
so-
just in We Summon the Darkness. I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't, but he is just freaking amazing. I remember we had a table read, and I left thinking, whoever this Logan kid is, like, it's about to be game over for him because he's so damn talented.
It and it's I feel like, and it kind of what you said too about like kind of different lanes and everything we were talking about, like the comedy like going into horror, like drama.
Yeah.
I feel like anything, there's very few, there's always going to be something in something that will like make you kind of chuckle or be like, that was a funny kind of line. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. I think we're past that point now. Like, there needs to be some sense of levity in everything. Just to, like, the world's dark enough as it is right now. We can have little pockets of fun here and there.
I know, it is crazy. When I kind of first started the show, I kind of wanted to kind of create kind of like like a place for conversations where like you like behind the scenes things that you kind of won't be able to get anywhere else. But I also wanted it because my background in communications, I have masters now. I kind of wanted to also be a little bit of like not just like an entertainment interview, but some substance and some kind of lessons, kind of like a little bit of education as well. From your experiences, is there anything you can share in terms of kind of words of wisdom or kind of advice for up and coming storytellers, Niki?
Yeah. All right. Well, I would say that number one is just keep creating content. I mean, with the phones that we have at our disposal and every other piece of technology that we can get our hands on so easily now, it's so much more, like we were saying, feasible to create and make film in any sort of like arena. Shorts are probably the best way to start, but I would say keep creating. And when I first started, one of the things that I think has helped me the most, that I still do to this day, is I made a massive list of everyone I knew in the industry, like down to makeup artists, producers, like anyone. And I just took them all out to lunch and just picked their brains. And I still do that. I mean, anytime I meet anyone who I think has some sort of valuable information for me, or who I just want to hear about their journey, I will take them out. So inundate yourself with information and keep creating are the two things I'd say.
It's like you knew I was going to ask that. You had that kind of like down pat.
Maybe I should just go into politics instead.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe not right now.
Niki, absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on Popternative.
Thank you. You're just a blast. This was great.
Absolutely. Where could so plug away, like you mentioned some projects, like what can people kind of be looking out for, and where can people kind of follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
Well, I've got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that fun stuff. It's Niki Koss on everything. And as for what I'm working on now, I just started a production company this year with my partner. Yeah, and she's just a force to be reckoned with. And she's just amazing. So we have quite a few projects coming up on that. And unfortunately, I can't say anything more, but there will be an announcement on its way with more information there. And that's truly been taking up all my time the past couple months. I mean, it's it's been amazing. And
I love the hustle. I love the hustle. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
I feel but you have to. Like, that's another thing too. Like, tell my viewers right now, like, if you're ever tired and be like, oh, like, I'm working.
You can't be tired. Screw being tired. Yeah, no, you have to. It's nonstop. It never ends, but it's the best. I mean, you gotta love it.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to those announcements, and thank you so much. This was awesome. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. And until next time, this is Niki Koss and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.